Thought that was going to work so easily. I was wrong. Maybe that's what it is. Let's try this corned beef sandwich. Oh. The stream makes sound. Even sounds like voices something. Well, the sun will come out in a few minutes. Quiet down. My mom's playing house in the apartment. Hi. Yeah, I never liked dancing. It just seems so fake. I never felt like I don't feel comfortable doing something I don't feel comfortable doing. As a child, I never wanted to dance. It wasn't something that I did. I didn't listen to music like, oh yeah, I'm going to dance. And yet I've seen some children who are the children of psychopathic parents. Traumatized and whatnot. And people are. And people interact based on a mixture of what they pick up from other people, what they sympathize with, what they see, what they don't. Sometimes, people who are traumatized or are sociopaths put out superlative qualities. They have a superlative charm. They can be quite endearing, quite earnest about various things, and yet be constantly involved in rackets or barely solvent enterprises. There's two dragon ties. I think they're making love. That's a sign. They can actually mount one another, and there's half a moon in the sky. All I have to do is just go through people I've known. I mean, they charm the socks off themselves. It's creepy when you invite this man to your house, this guy I knew from town I grew up in. One day he comes in, he's not paying it right, and he comes in with a beer, a really expensive bottle of beer. Not super, but expensive, and he opens it and he sits there, and he's an alcoholic, and he takes a few sips and says, right, now that's a beer, that's a real beer. Because had a real taste for it. And as I don't doubt, he did. He also has a taste for having sex with anything that moves. Started fucking my roommate, who was fucking some other guy. Fun, huh? Came home one day, he's naked in the kitchen making her pancakes. Oh, you're not paying any rent, and you're walking around my house naked. That's pretty comfortable. You can kind of see, their boundaries, right? Eventually, he starts trying to tell me how to run the house. And I very compassionately invite him to leave. And he does. This is a grown man. And he stayed out. I had to pack up all of his belongings for him. You know, and I feel bad because he probably didn't figure out that he wasn't in the right house if he wanted to do that. You know, you don't come into a man's house and start telling him how to live. That's pretty arrogant. And alcoholics do some pretty stupid shit. They lose their morality. I mean, they lose their own sense of survival. Like, if he had never opened his mouth, he could have lived there an entire year. He could have lived there an entire other year, with very good terms. Imagine living on the waterfront on Salt Spring with a beach on each side of your cottage, with a washer dryer, a nice kitchen, a beautiful deck, down to the water, the whole deal, for $300 Canadian a month, with no utilities. Are you fucking kidding me? That's like, no one ever finds shit like that. It is the most sought after pearl of the island. And I live there. But you think I could find a decent fucking roommate? They take it for granted. Every fucking person just takes that house for granted. I had this rich alcoholic. And she never had the rent on time once, even though she had the money. I'm like, I need the rent at the end of the month, Jen. That's when I need it. Have to send it to the landlord, you see. And he expects it at a certain time. And, you see how that works, right? Her family has accumulated all this wealth, but she can't pay the fucking rent on time. It's out of this world. And I invite these people into my life, stupidly. And the woman who recommended her had raped me several times. Stupid person that I am. Because I understand men who might say, I didn't know I was raped. I'm pretty sure that wasn't sex, but I didn't know what it was. This woman was humping me in front of her 2-year-old child, who was a girl, that she later accused me of raping when I stopped having sex with her, or getting raped by her, I should say, and she was clearly trying to get pregnant by me. She assumed when I was able to hold in my ejaculation and withdraw from her one night when she mounted me again, that I had some kind of sex issues with impotence. It wasn't impotent. She was fucking raping me and terrifying me. She had absolutely no concern for any of the products of this absolutely violent act, which would have been another child. She had raped, like a statutory rape, the first father of her first child. But she was sitting in front of me and then trying to sit on my dick, saying, oh, it's okay, honey. And I said, what? He said, oh, don't worry about it. She's okay. And then one day she's like, my astronomer told me that my child might be prone to getting sexually abused. You don't say. Wow. It's like it's written in the stars, is it? I mean, why would you even tell anyone that? You see the fucked up world. And then her friend, the father of whose children never seems to be around, that this other hippie who sexually assaults me tells me is the nicest mother in the world. Look at her, Landon. She's a mother. Oh, okay. Another mother without a father for her children. Lovely. Girls, of course. Eventually, they just ignore me. There's something about getting accused of raping a baby that just makes you shy. To everyone you've met through that person, it's like, yeah, I guess that's all done. This woman eradicated my life and just went on. And then her friend who lived in my apartment stole $1,000 of paintings from me when I was away. And just completely out of her mind. Just ludicrous. And then she had a male friend who wanted to get on it, and he assaulted me as well. And he would say, who are these people? They're just regular working people. They're just fucked up. They're territorial. So you see, the older guy is into her, and he hates me. He's into the other one who raped me, so he hates me for that too. He comes into my house and insults me. He fucking harasses me over the phone at one point. And he's like 75, 80, retired. He's just a horny curmudgeon, and they're all territorial, right? Because they're psychopaths, right? Your home is never just your home, you know? When I was living in that home, everyone that came in that home, like 24 people, was a psychopath. Save maybe one native woman. And they're all territorial. I had 2 hippie guys from middle-class families. One of them was from an RCMP family. And he was a thief and a liar, as they all are. I knew another woman, 2 people I knew that were children of RCMP, and she was a prostitute, a whore, and a rapist. You know, you're getting the idea about the RCMP? You know, you shall know them through their children. There's a reason why I'm afraid of these people. Oh my God, I live my life in fear of the police. Especially the more I'm out here by myself. Because I've had women call the police on me twice. Just to see me walking around. I had one young woman call me suspicious while I was walking down the street because her dogs were looking at me. Right? And although all these, I'm sure, have an interesting little contour and context if we were to just go back to that scene and so forth, you know, and subtleties, I guess, but you start to see a pattern, right, in my life. You see a pattern in women's behavior, and it's a male sacrificing world. So these women all lose their fathers. If you met women who found you suspicious every day, how do you think you'd feel about yourself? Do you think a lot of women walking down the street are considered suspicious? Do you think the women who raped me or sexually assaulted me or stole property from me, including my own sister or my mother, do you think anyone considers them suspicious? Not a day of their life has anyone ever used the word suspicious with their name in a sentence. Right? It's a very different world for women than it is for men. And as you might guess, I have a different sort of energy to people. That sun, actually, I'm just thinking about leaving. And the sun, I think, is just starting to come out. I was just like, I'm cold. Let's go. And I think the sun is about to come out. That's funny. Oh, let's get out. Oh. Oh. Yeah. That sun is just about to come out. I like coming down here. Oh, look. There's a little bit of that flower I met yesterday on the way on my journeys. That exact type of flower. You're here too. Huh. How neat. It's pretty cool. I don't even know what you're called. Nice white flower. Up there, maybe for me. I feel a little empty. I often do. I don't feel as healthy as I'd like, strong and confident. I feel that's going to take a little time. I asked the cards, and they pretty much said till the end of the year to build up your energy again. But it'll be stronger than it was. Just take your time. Don't push it. You'll feel strong again. Just don't be hard on yourself. There's been some deaths in my family over the last few years, and it's weird because nobody ever sees me, nobody knows me. I'm estranged from my entire family, but I don't think they realize that it touches me. Like I've always been a sensitive, family-oriented person. It's just that violence from family and other people has not allowed me to connect with my family. I mean, it's very hard to feel comfortable connecting to people who knew you when you were a child, for instance, after you've been raped and experienced attempted murder from your mother, your father, and your siblings. And the extremely disintegrating influence that a mother and the children of a mother who's been raped by your uncles can have upon you if you're me. And this thing about me, what is it about me? And that's not a very nice way to approach your sense of self in the world. It's something about you that people want to hurt you, or people can hurt you. And your mother can hurt you, and and I don't want to put a bad energy on it because she's not hurting me today. I think I'm safe, but I never feel completely safe until my mother brought this disgusting woman into her life when she moved into the apartment, and I'm not the only person in that building, especially the men. Even the manager, who's like really, really wants that person to be gone. Like, he knows she's coming today. He's gonna make sure he's not around. You know what I mean? That kind of woman. Just makes men just want to not be around them. They're the female versions of intensely misogynistic men. They're the female versions of them. And so through these type of women, they help you kind of understand men a little bit. Because, when men are misogynist, you think, oh, they're assholes, no one cares if a bus or someone, push them into a subway or something, but that's how I feel about her. They just don't have, they've not built themselves that way. And they've not had the opportunity to that they can't really consider other people, not men or women, and then in critical ways, certainly not their own children, especially when they're men. And if she'd had girls, it would have been the same thing. I knew a lady who passed away a few years ago, and she made her own daughter terribly ill. Her own daughter didn't even talk to her when she was dying. It was just like she was terribly ill. She's probably going to get better when her mother's gone because she's just, unfortunately, had that disintegrating energy. She had an intense trauma from a father who came home from the war and punched her in the head when she was 6. After imagining having a beautiful day when you're 6 and walking home to your house, and the fly door closes behind you a little loud for your father who's got whatever fucking problems, and he walks over and punches you in the head. Okay? And so, yeah, that led to sickness throughout her whole family. Sickness to her children. She distributed violence to me, to my mother, and we had her in our home. And she was rude to us, and she exposed both of us to indignity and to harm. To the point that my mom just barely even saw her anymore, and I was going to see her when she was in palliative care because I lived near the hospital. And I didn't mind her company at all, but she was weird. And she became very cruel to me. And but they have their reasons. They get piqued. You do something, I guess, that presses their buttons. And she was afraid to tell me what it was. She was afraid of men. Right? The more decent a man is, the more she's afraid of him. You can just see that with psychopaths. Like, why do they pick on nice people? Why do assholes pick on nice girls? Why do, or why are there nice girls who always go for assholes? Well, figure it out. Figure out the mathematics of that. When you're young, you're in the care of people for whom things are missing. And in those areas, they spread disintegrating energy to you, so you don't build up the confidence or the self-esteem or these numinous, wonderful, sort of radiant, forget auras and stuff like that, this radiant, numinous way that people have just in their body language and in their energy. You take for granted the coordination of your mind with your body and with your, I don't want to say personality, but your aptitudes for life and communication with others, and how you read body language and whatnot, and how comfortable you are even just being around people where, body language might leave things, a little bit ambiguous here and there. And staying strong through, in a very deep subconscious level, the tumult of information from other people and facial expressions and things like that. And indeed, what kind of facial expressions from other simians you're going to get based on your body language. And all those subtle things that we sum up as, is she or he fitting into the world? Are you socializing? Are you healthy? Are you being a good little boy and girl? Are you getting on in the world? Or do you have mental problems or social problems? And the thing is that if you live in a dysfunctional house at all, you're not going to have the same strength. You may develop a confidence, you may go out and drink and party, and all of a sudden, things happen because your energy is weak. You've been exposed to a disintegrating energy, this wonderful numinous thing that when it's working just is like a jaguar and has this wonderful life and finds nice people spend time with. Now it's just indescribably difficult, even if you at some point stumble on the idea that you have to work at it. And what I did, and all I could do, was just get people out of my life. So I've always got to get this person out of my life, wave action. Because you meet people like Catherine is kind of middle of the road, this old woman that I know, and it's like there's something there's something a little shady about her. I just don't know what it is. I just don't get a consistent energy from her at all, and I'm just like, oh, it's too bad, and she's a little codependent. I'm gonna leave this stone out here. I came out here on a very difficult day one day, and I'm glad this place is here. Thank you. It's getting a little less difficult every day, I'm happy to say. So I've had my Reuben sandwich and I had my burger, so hopefully it's $20 worth of food. Basically, meat. I've eaten a lot of meat today. Let that digest. Let's see. Think about my brother a little bit, my older brother, who's not my brother really. I mean, a brother is someone that doesn't hurt you, right? He induced critical, catastrophic injuries to my body when I was 23, and he did that in conjunction and at the behest of my sister and my father, and another gentleman, a real estate agent, and then his homosexual friend, Christian. He moved into the house, and it was all brought about. Everyone I knew, including counselors or things like that, my family doctor, were receiving false reports about me from these people or my father, and they created an entire narrative to protect them from all accountability. It was a full family immune system, and I was their Hitler. They were the allies, and I was routed and routed out and beaten and left and stolen from, and literally left broken and beaten on my kitchen floor. I got my brother out of the house. I changed the locks, and he came in and broke into the house again during the day, and the police wouldn't do anything. And he'd already dislocated several parts of my body, which were healing, and he threatened to do it again. And I had just barely got the sling off one of my arms. And he's in my home, and he weighs 100 pounds more than me, and he's threatening to do it again. And I don't even know why. To this day, he comes in my home, He wants to tell me that I'm nothing, that I'm never going to make it as a writer. He looks at me and scoffs and leaves. And I immediately lock the door and close the window, and well, that's the end of my relationship with him. Pretty scary dude, eh? What do you think was going through his mind? Any explanation there? Anyone? You think any of you? See, so I couldn't explain it. I had lots of other things to do. Now I'm trying to finish, my first or second semester at college, and I show up at my English, 105 class with a sling around my arm, and the professor, who I like, in a full classroom, mostly of girls, asked me what happened, and I say that my roommate and I had a disagreement as to whether or not I could stay in the house, which was pretty much exactly what happened. For some reason, I had this trouble not being honest, and he sort of smiled and put his smile away and went back to teaching. I mean, how many people get a dislocated shoulder because someone doesn't think you should live somewhere, right? I'm pretty sure no one in that classroom is going to date me at that point. Not that this was a catastrophic injury that would change the rest of my life. And not a single other person in that entire college has probably ever had that happen to them. And it's you. You're the one that's been chosen for this, not special destiny, not some NASCAR debut. No, to have your body catastrophically dislocated, including most of my ribs, by the force and hatred of your own family. Do you want to know what I said to them that made them so angry? And what I said to my mom multiple times 20 years later when she was putting me in the hospital on a regular basis and eventually dislocated my shoulder? Please stop hurting me. Please stop hurting me. Please, I don't want any more violence in my home. But do you think these Christians or these homosexuals heard anything I was saying? Because they're homosexuals, by the way. You want to know why I don't like homosexuals? Who's that? Oh, people wondering if I'm a bear. I just... And they went on to their next gay enterprise. Perfect psychopathic Christian homosexuals. Like Nazis. Hey? And there's nothing I could do. I think about it now like I was living on train tracks and the train was just going to come through. There's nothing I could have done. Every little... I started slow. I made up little boundaries like this, that. I mean, they were taking, as people would later do in my house, they were stealing out of my bedroom. They were taking furniture out of my bedroom without asking me. Who does that? I said, put it back, and I contained my temper, but that was the beginning of the end. Telling them not to do something. Psychopaths, right? Telling them not to do something in their pretty little world. Hey? Oh, they're wonderful gay colors. They're rainbow fun. Well, I had some really rainbow fun. Try having your shoulder dislocated 20 times. See how much fun you have at the old gay parade. Because I don't find gay people all that gay, quite frankly. I don't. They're just like women. They're caught up with everything but what's most important in life. And I had a friend I grew up with, gay, fucking treated me like shit. Treated me like shit all the time. He's got mental problems. He's on 500 milligrams of fucking antipsychotics every month. Has pedophiles for his friends. I mean, real pedophiles. I mean, I was in their presence. They were like, yep, children can consent, all that. It's, really shoving in my face, right? I guess they got tired of shoving homosexuality in people's face. They've decided to shove pedophilia in their face now too. Because it has, according to him, it has the same justifications. They're born that way. Don't you love that? Now, I'm not saying every homosexual believes that. I know that would be very offensive to a lot of you. But, I'm not gay, so I'm not offended. You know what I mean? I'm not a little bit closer to being one of those people, that are just born a little different and like sticking it in the poo-poo instead of the pee-pee. It's like, no, I don't like men's anuses, and I don't like the idea that people do. I think it's gross. It's fucking disgusting is what it is. And we live in a society where you're not allowed to say that. I'm like, I know there's people out there going, thank you for saying that. It's fucking disgusting, isn't it? Men having sex with each other is just the most fucking disgusting thing you'll ever see. And I've watched people, gay people in public having sex. It doesn't look very pretty. I don't like Christians, but if you wanted to take the Christian idea of demons, when people are having demon sex, homosexual sex is demon sex. The problem with that is that Christianity is a hotbed of demons. The whole religion is about calling demons. Jesus is a fucking demon. That takes care of children, like Santa, who's another fucking demon. Go talk to the demon. All these happy little princess characters for children are all demons. They take your children away from you. Hey. And turn them into sex goddesses, who I've studied will spend 30 seconds going, oh God, to some 20-year-old guy who basically can't last more than 30 seconds. Because it's all about the pop and the fizz. It's not about a genuine electronic connection, which takes breeding and training and modesty, artfulness and poetry. Show me a woman who doesn't mind having some poetry written to them and can write some poetry back and knows the enormity of what you're developing here. And you have to start with something, don't you? It has to be more than I just want to hump her beautiful, bodacious asshole. You have to start with something. And I would say to men, and this is important, never date a woman whose father died when she was young. Because I guarantee the mother killed him. And I like it like my auntie killed her husband. And I could explain what I mean by that, but my auntie killed her husband like a drunk driver kills someone and doesn't really know it. And both the boys are gay, I'm pretty sure, which is good. I think, gay people are really nice. And I don't think a lot of gay people would want to break my body. Or maybe listening to me you would. And I don't want to break your body, just so you know.